Good morning. So the world seems to be in turmoil at the moment, what with riots and viruses and all these sort of things. Can education help us out? Jesus gave us the best education ever. He taught us how to live and how to view our fellow man with love. He taught us that we are all one. There is no race as far as Jesus is concerned, and we are to consider one another as superior to ourselves if we can. But for a moment, what I want to do is step back from the world's problems for the moment in order just to see where the real solution to our problems lies. And I'm going to take you to Job 37 and verse 14. Now, Job had every problem you could think of. Illness, he'd lost his children, he had friends who were horrible to him, and so on and so forth. And yet Elihu said to him, just stop for a moment and consider the wondrous works of God. So we might do that for a moment. And this is from the point of view of learning that God can do anything and can help us out. First of all, here's one wonder of the Lord. Sometimes it's good just to stop and look at the flowers, smell the scent, and just think and appreciate how much work went into one little flower. But this morning, I'd like to look at science. I do like to do this from the point of view of how clever God is. And in Job 26 and verse 8, it says this about God, that he fastens up the waters in his clouds. The mists do not tear apart under their weight. Now, I can see clouds outside at the moment, and the average cumulus cloud weighs about 500,000 kilograms. That's over £1 million. Now, if all that water came down in one lump, there wouldn't be much left underneath it. But it drips down very gently. Some raindrops are small, some are bigger, and the way that they form is quite miraculous, really. But we want to wonder at creation. So I'm just going to show you this from a book about water. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's a little picture of a cloud. Now we know that water evaporates from the sea and all of it's just going up all over the place. So why does water collect in a cloud? Why does it collect in one place? And that's odd because when you look at a water molecule, and I have a picture of one here, if you can see that, here we are, 1 oxygen, 2 hydrogens. Now, it has a slight electrical charge, so they don't really like each other. And so it's odd that they would get together in a cloud. Now, this is what one scientist says about water. This is Philip Ball, who's a science consultant for the journal Nature. And he says, no one really understands water. It's embarrassing to admit it, but the stuff that covers 2/3 of our planet is still a mystery. Water, without it, we would not be alive. Nothing would be alive on this planet without water. So we'll wonder why we don't understand how the water molecules react with each other, not properly and not just yet. Well, let's go a little bit further and we'll go to Job 38. Now, a scientist could spend a lifetime looking at the science in Job 38, and this is where Jehovah is trying to help Job to be a little more humble. And he's explaining some of the science that's gone into creating the earth. But we'll stick with water for the moment. And God says to Job, have you ever visited the place where the snow is kept, or seen where the hail is stored up? Ice comes in many forms, as frost, as the dew freezes. It comes as snow, sometimes as hail. It forms on the tops of lakes, which is odd because it's very cold, and normally something that's cold would sink. And here we have a picture of an ice formation. I don't know if you can see this or not. Here it is, here. Ice water would normally be like this all over the place, but it forms a lattice and a little element gets introduced and it forms a lovely crystal, but it takes up a lot of space, which is why it floats. It's an unusual feature of a very cold thing. So, what am I getting at here? If we just sit back and just think about what God has created and how wonderful it is, then we come to the conclusion that God can do anything, and he's far more intelligent and clever than we are. So he is the solution to the world's problems. So we keep praying for the kingdom to come because we want Jesus Christ to rule over us. He knows what's best for us and can solve any viral problems. He will teach us how to be kind to people of other races, consider them superior to ourselves. But there's a lovely little verse in Psalm 90 where the psalmist prays, "Let us wake in the morning filled with your love and sing and be happy all day." And in verse 16 it says, "Let your servants see what you can do for them." We know that God can do more than we think he can. So let us have confidence that the world's problems can be solved. Let us stick to Jesus' words as much as we can and wait patiently with a life that we can cope with until the kingdom comes. But thank you for watching this morning.